I'm here in the city of Deva. Now, Deva is probably the least tourist city that I've been to so far in Romania, and I'm actually staying in a place that's on the outskirts of that. I have my own room. I've got my own bathroom. Very comfy bed. I'm not sure what I'm going to do today. I may get on a bus and go and visit Corvin Castle, or I may just head up into the city centre of Deva and see what Deva's got to offer. Not much, according to TripAdvisor and various blogs. There's not a great deal to see, but there's always interesting things to be found. So let's do it. So as you can see, my accommodation is basically in someone's backyard. And it's very nice. For £10 a night, it's perfect. It's easy enough to find. And just at the corner from the street that my hostel's on is a bus stop where apparently you can get a bus to Corvin Castle, which I would imagine is probably the #1 tourist destination for people coming to Deva. And there's no hostels or anything in Deva, which is why I've ended up staying in a place in my own room. I guess it doesn't really get that many tourists, but it's nice to come to a place like this, get off the kind of tourist trail for a bit. Whether there's going to be a bus due is going to determine whether I go to Corvin Castle today or just spend the day in Deva. So I've not decided yet. This is the bus stop. I did walk past this bus stop yesterday and there was a van parked here which was heading to Hunedoara, which is the city or town where Corvin Castle is located. Now, as usual with bus stops in Eastern Europe, there's just no information at all. But I'm going to wait, give it 10 minutes and see if a bus turns up. Well, that was remarkably easy. I was stood at the bus stop less than 5 minutes and a little bus turned up, brought me to the place where I needed to be, and they even dropped me off in the actual bus station, so at least I know where to get the bus back. I was hoping to arrive in this town and find, you know, a little centre with some cafes and shops, but there doesn't appear to be anything. I've not eaten anything yet. I've had a banana, but yeah, so far Hunedoara makes Deva look like New York or something. Not a lot going on. Maybe there's a bit more kind of food options near the castle, because that's where the tourists head. I don't think any tourists come, you know, around here really. It's just residential, so I don't even know if I'm walking the right way. There's a shop over there, maybe I should go there and just get some snacks. It's getting a bit lively now. Patisserie. That might be worth checking out. The patisserie was a good idea. Managed to get myself my typical traveller's breakfast, slice of pizza for £5 lei, and it looks pretty good actually. So I'm going to demolish this on my way to the castle, which is about 20 minutes walk through the wonderful streets of whatever town it is that I'm in right now. I'm really not expecting there to be many people at this castle. I mean, the nearest town is Deva, where I've just come from, and it's hardly a tourist destination. Now maybe people come visit this castle as day trips from Sibiu or places like that. At the minute it just doesn't feel like there's anyone around. Now I have just glanced to my left and spotted the castle, so I'm not far away. It's hardly the prettiest of towns. The castle is in view. Here we are. The gates are open, that's a good sign. Right, so here we go then. Tickets were 36, which is actually cheaper than it is online. And apparently you need to pay to take photos or videos, but I haven't done. So we'll see how we get on with that. Matthias Corvin was the third owner of this castle. We saw the place where he was born in Cluj-Napoca. This is the Matthias Corvinus house. This is where he was born in 1443. And since then it's been a hospital, a prison and a museum. So he came from very humble beginnings compared to this. This was the castle kitchen, and these would be used to hang pieces of meat. It's a shame they haven't turned this into a restaurant serving the food of the time. Could just eat some pork lard. So we have these signs telling you which way to go, but there are various little rooms that you can go and explore. This one's the chapel. Wow. There's some pretty creepy artwork. This well was dug by 3 Turkish prisoners. They were promised to be given their freedom, and the prisoners dug the rock for 15 years, 28 meters deep, and then they managed to find the water. In the meantime, Ioan of Hunedoara, who had offered them their freedom, died. His wife decided not to respect her husband's promise. Instead of giving them their freedom, she had them killed. In the stone there is an inscription from one of the Turkish prisoners that reads, "You may have water, but you have no soul." 15 years digging through rock for their freedom, only to be told they were going to be murdered instead. What a lovely woman. I had read somewhere that this castle had a bear pit, and I think this might be it, although there's no information. Well, this could be it. And that's it for Corvin Castle. There's not quite as much to look at inside as some of the other castles, like Pellet's Castle for example. It's a very beautiful castle. I'm not sure how much of it you actually do get to see. I didn't get up there, for example. So not all of it is accessible to the public. But it's worth coming to see, especially if you've got 3 days in Deva, where there's really not a great deal else to do, to be honest. I like the Bran Castle. Just over here there's a museum of torture, and you do have to pay extra to get in here. I think it's like 10 lei, so it's less than £2. And there's a sign outside saying you can take photos, so might as well. So the introduction explains how most of the torture in the medieval ages took place in places like this, underground. People who were about to be subjected to torture were often told what was about to happen to them by the torturer. The theory was that it was better to torture 1,000 innocent people than to let one guilty person free. A lot of the torture devices were sprinkled with holy water. The torture would last between 1 and 6 hours. Different methods included pulling the nails, teeth, beating, blinding, boiling, flogging and whipping, flailing, burning, genital mutilation, starvation, dislocating of limbs, breaking of the bones, castration, suffocation, disfigurement and drowning. There was even a method of torture that used tickling. We saw this in the Corvin Castle Torture Museum. Now this has got to hurt. All the body weight is supported by the genitals. They certainly didn't mess about in the Middle Ages, did they? Wow. A lot of the stuff in there was the same as what I'd seen in the Torture Museum in Corvin Castle, but it's much better presented in there. Well, this looks interesting. History of Romanian communism. And it's not far from where I need to be. But my problem is, I haven't got any money on me, so I need a bank. And if I don't get any money, it means I'm going to have to walk back to Deva. Or hitchhike. It's a 3.5-hour walk. So I don't fancy that much. Right, let's do it, let's see what happens. Don't you just love adventures? The Communist Museum's right here. I don't know. 15 May. Doesn't say whether they take card or not. Don't think it's open anyway, to be honest. No. Well, there's not a great deal to do in this town, and one of the things that I've only just discovered that would have been really cool is bloody closed. Well, it's very bizarre to see a tourist information centre here in Hunedoara. Forgot the name of the place. Hunedoara. Because apart from the castle, there's just nothing else to see. Now I managed to draw some money out of the bank so I can get a bus, but unfortunately it's a 50 note and the bus cost 11, so I probably need to get some change before I head back to the bright lights of Deva.